Welcome to the 1999 season of the Nottingham Caesars American Football Club. Over the next few weeks we'll be following the Caesars through the 99 campaign, and along the way we'll be looking at some of the plays, positions and the personalities that make up the team. The Caesars were originally formed as a youth team back in 1985 and added a senior side in 1994. Starting in the bottom division, the Caesars moved up to the first division, and in 1997 were defeated by Redbridge in the Division 1 bowl game. This season is the 5th senior season for the Caesars and their 3rd year in Division 1, and hopes are high for a good year. The Caesars are playing again in Division 1 Northern Conference this year. Here's how the division lines up. They play all the teams in their conference twice, plus 2 inter-conference games. Here's how the other divisional conferences line up, with the Caesars games highlighted. Over the next half hour, you'll get the chance to learn a little bit about the game of American football, and also to see highlights of the 2 pre-season games played against Yorkshire and Staffordshire. So sit back, relax and enjoy the show. If you've ever watched American football on TV, you may have found it confusing. So here's our beginner's guide to football. The offensive team, made up of 11 players, has 4 attempts, or downs, to advance the ball 10 yards or more. They can do this by passing or running the ball down the field. If they fail to make the required 10 yards, the ball is turned over, given to the opposition, who then have a chance to advance the ball themselves. If the offence makes 10 or more yards within their 4 downs, they are rewarded with a first down and another 4 downs. Continuing in this fashion, the offence attempts to move the ball down the field towards the end zone. Crossing the goal line with the ball is a touchdown, which is worth 6 points. After a touchdown, a team can elect to kick the ball between the posts for an extra point, or run it or pass it for a 2-point conversion. If a team feels they cannot make the required 10 yards, they may choose to punt the ball away to the opposition. This usually happens on a 4th down. If a team is close enough to the end zone, they may decide to kick a field goal. Similar to kicking an extra point, putting the kick between the posts is worth 3 points. We will look at the game in more depth as we go through the season. The Caesars' first pre-season game was against the Yorkshire Rams, currently in Division 2. Ideal opponents for the Caesars, who were looking to integrate several rookies into the team. Here are the starting lineups for the game. Starting with the offence. The offensive line of Gibson, Morley, Stenson, Cawthorne, Burnett. Dean Cawthorne will also be featuring on the defence. The backfield, the same as last year's, of quarterback Gary Stainton and running backs Guy Kersey and Scott Messam. The wide receiver trio of Adrian Giles, Chris Taylor and Ian McCartney, who will be playing in his first senior game. A defensive line of Cawthorne, Samuels, Lees, Armitage. The linebacking core of Riley, Sterling, Freer, Chambers. Marcus Riley and Darryl Sterling both returning after a break from football. The secondary of Andy Newsom, Gary Sharp, Dave Clemenza. Andy Newsom is another product of the youth squad playing his first senior game. The Caesars opened up passing with quarterback Gary Stainton completing this pass to wide receiver Adrian Giles for a first down. A strong Yorkshire pass rush forced Stainton to overthrow this pass, which was intercepted, prematurely ending the drive. defence gave the ball back to the Caesars, who went back to the air with Stainton throwing this touchdown pass to rookie wide receiver Ian McCartney. The Caesars' next possession ended the same way, this time with Stainton hitting Giles for the long touchdown. Darryl Sterling extra point made it 13-0 in favour of the Caesars. Linebacker Sterling, number 50, and Dean Cawthorne shut Yorkshire's running game down, forcing a punt, allowing the Caesars to take over. The offence went straight to the running game, with first running back Scott Messam picking up good yards. And then Guy Kersey taking the ball in from 65 yards out. That celebration must mean something. This play is called the option. Stainton had the option of running the ball himself, but as the defence covered him, he tossed the ball to Kersey, who picked up a block downfield by Giles before running the distance to score. Caesars quarterback Stainton, sure to feature heavily this season, likes to get in on the action, especially when it involves knocking people over. The second half began with strong rushing from the Caesars, typified here by Scott Messam picking up a first down. Nothing came from the possession. However, linebacker Saul Freer ensured that Yorkshire gave the ball right back. Keep an eye on receiver A.D. Giles, who gets in on this running play, using his size to good advantage. This Yorkshire punt was returned by Gary Sharp, one of the backup quarterbacks for the Caesars. The good field position allowed Stainton to rumble home from 60 yards out to make the score 26-0, showing that he can run away from as well as over people. The fake to the left and the good block from 77 Dean Cawthorne allowed Stainton to get downfield for the score. Linebacker Marcus Riley joins in the party with this tackle to set the Caesars up in good field position. Stainton moved the offence downfield as time ran out with this long pass to receiver Steve Bosley. The Caesars escaped a dubious refereeing decision on this play as backup quarterback Sharp, in to see out the final minutes, completed this pass to Kersey. The play was ruled over, but closer inspection reveals the ball coming out before Kersey hits the floor, and so should have been ruled a fumble. The final action of the game was another close call for the Caesars. Sharp escaped the pass rush and offloaded to a wide open Messam, who went in for the final score. Again, however, closer inspection of the replay reveals Messam may have put a foot on the line. You be the judge. A good opener for the Caesars, with a chance for the rookies like cornerback Andy Newsom to get a taste of the action in the big league. A strong performance by the offensive and defensive lines can only be bolstered in the coming weeks as players return from injury and others are integrated into the system.
We're trying to achieve today all the different young lads that we've got, the rookies, the moves that we've been working on in the training sessions, the build-up, different players, that sort of thing, just seeing what we've actually got on offence and defence.
We're good, yeah, we're a bit rusty, we're going to get there. Offence looked good, we're moving the ball, scored 33 points, so, you know, we'll be there. We just need some fine-tuning, which we're going to get, then we're going to kick some ass.
I think everybody had a good game. We had no injuries, which is a real good thing. It went very easy, I must admit. I thought Yorkshire were going to be a lot harder team. They do tend to be a very strong team running, but they didn't put anything together. I think they only got 2 passes on us and didn't really make any problems at all for us.
Well, the key points of the game, our offensive line's got to get downfield and block a bit more. The running backs had to do a lot of work. They were getting pummeled a bit. So the fat boys have got to move their ass some more, you know. We've got to pass a little more. I know we've got some passing TDs, but, you know, we're going to be a passing team this year. We're going to get some yardage, getting that stats chart, you know.
We don't play as individuals, we play as a team, and they were all good, everybody on the field. It was a good team effort. I think we'll take what we've learnt today, what we've got a positive today, go forward with that, and obviously the bits that we weren't so sure on, we're either going to stay with them and work twice as hard with Staffordshire, or change them slightly.
Offensive lines, we've got to get down in the trenches and we've got to beat them up physically. We're not physical enough at the moment. They've just got to beat them up. Is that beat them up? Oh, that rat, gonna beat them up. Yes, please.
Well, I think we've got a very good chance of winning the Division 1 championship. Really do. I think we've got some really talented players and we play as a team, and that's why I say a team effort all round.
The final pre-season game saw the Caesars take on the Staffordshire Surge. Dropped from Division 1 last year, they still present a tough challenge and a good test for the season to come. Here are the starting lineups for the game. An offensive line of Burnett, Smith, Stenson, Waite and Gibson. The addition of Smith and Waite expected to bolster the running game. An unchanged backfield of Stainton, Kersey and Messam. Also an unchanged receiving corps of Giles, Taylor and McCartney. Defensive line of Cawthorne, Samuels, new acquisition, Scorer and Armitage. The linebacking corps of Giles, Freer, Sterling and Lees, with Lees dropping back from defensive line and Giles helping out from offence. A secondary of Clemenza, Chambers and McCartney. McCartney standing in for the absent Newsom. The Caesars opened up, moving the ball easily on the ground behind the running of halfback Scott Messam. Messam carried the load on the first series, moving the Caesars into scoring range. New additions to the offensive line opened up holes for the ground game and gave quarterback Gary Stainton time to pass, this completion going to Chris Taylor. Fullback Guy Kersey picked up a crucial first down on this drive, allowing Stainton to open the scoring with this bullet to wide receiver Adrian Giles, even too quick for the cameras. A Darryl Sterling extra point made it 7-0 to the Caesars. Not to be outdone, the Surge showed that they could also move the ball. Adrian Giles, here playing at linebacker, made a crucial early tackle on what for him was a big series. A dive up the middle, again dragged down by Giles, was followed by yet another Giles tackle, as he held on and waited for help on this sweep. Staffordshire's offence was halted on the goal line as Giles and Sterling combined to keep the surge out. Staffordshire faced 4 attempts to gain a yard for the touchdown. But were kept out of the end zone by plays like this from Sean Chambers. And more of the same from linebacker Giles. The drive was ultimately ended as this 4th down pass was battered away by Chambers in the end zone. The Caesars injury worries continued to pile up, with running back Scott Messam picking up a game-ending injury on this seemingly innocent play. Yes, Scott, I'm sure it was very painful. Staffordshire survived a scare on their next possession, recovering this fumbled snap. Only to see do-it-all man, quarterback Gary Stainton begin to take control of the game with some tough running. This score by Stainton behind the blocking of number 54, Dean Smith, gave the Caesars a comfortable 13-0 lead. On this play, Stainton used the fake to good effect, faking the ball to Kersey going right and keeping it himself going left. He picks up Smith's block and follows him all the way in for the score. The resulting kickoff was almost disastrous for the Caesars, with safety Sean Chambers making the touchdown-saving tackle. Backup quarterback Carlo Pastorelli replaced Stainton and did the smart thing, handing off to Kersey, who had been switched to halfback to replace the injured Messam. Kersey continued to chew up the yards on the ground, on his way to 137 yards rushing on the day. Behind this power running, the passing game was also able to function, with Andy Jackson making this 1st down reception. Game MVP Stainton popped up at receiver next, unlucky not to score on this play. The promising drive was ended as a strong Staffordshire pass rush resulted in this wayward pass, intercepted and returned for good field position. Closer inspection of the end of this play shows Kersey jarring the ball loose, but the play was not ruled a fumble and Staffordshire kept the ball. Tough defence by number 77 Dean Cawthorne kept the offence in check. But a short passing game and a small slice of luck kept the ball moving. This short yardage touchdown gave Staffordshire hope, and they elected to go for 2 points, using the short passing game to convert for a 13-8 scoreline. More yards on the ground for Kersey enabled Pastorelli to complete this pass to Stainton, who looks for a small guy to pick on before stepping out of bounds. In payment for his earlier drop, Stainton hauls in this long pass to make the half-time score 19-8. The second half began in much the same way, as Stainton, now back at quarterback, continued to punish the defence, dragging defenders for this first down. Backup fullback Matt Farmer was also seeing action due to Messham's injury. The drive was cut short and Staffordshire took over, using the short passing game to move the ball down the field for their second score of the game. The two-point attempt was intercepted by Ian McCartney and returned to midfield, resulting in a 19-14 scoreline. The Caesars moved the ball straight back down the field, with Giles making this catch. And Stainton continuing to rumble on the ground. The drive stalled, but this fake field goal gave the Caesars another first down. A great catch by Giles, who helpfully signals the first down. The drive was capped by this run, Stainton's third of the day. Again, Stainton makes good use of the fake, with the defence attacking to the left, allowing Stainton to go in untouched to make the score 25-14. More promising offence by Staffordshire was halted by plays like this from Sean Chambers, making the tackle from safety. Pay attention to the quarterback's hands as he taps the centre to indicate a dive up the middle. Linebackers Giles and Sterling react to shut the play down. A punt on the following drive is punished as that man Stainton returns the kick, bringing his touchdown tally on the day to 4. For the game, Stainton has thrown a touchdown pass, rushed for 2, caught 1, and returned a punt for the last to take the score to 33-14. More tough defence gave the Caesars the ball back, and running back Guy Kersey celebrated surpassing the 100-yard rushing mark with this dramatic run, hurdling the defender for the extra yard. The game was not yet wrapped up, Pastorelli feeling the pressure here. Staffordshire took over on offence and were able to move the ball downfield in big chunks through the air. The drive was halted and Kersey and Stainton continued to pound out the yards on the ground. Big hits finished off the surge. This from Sterling. And this from Stainton, now playing at safety. This final pre-season game gave the coaches a good look at several new players, such as wide receiver Ian McCartney and quarterback Carlo Pastorelli, both who had solid games. It was also a chance to see how newly acquired players fitted in, particularly several new offensive linemen. Running back Guy Kersey also had a strong game, filling in for the injured Messam, and has given the coaches something to consider when selecting the starting lineups for the upcoming season. Good all-round performances from A.D. Giles and in particular Gary Stainton, who was responsible for 8 of the season's 10 pre-season touchdowns, gives the team reason to face the new season with confidence.